Understanding juvenile charges in Okmulgee County. Few things are more frightening for a parent than finding out their child is facing juvenile charges. Many families assume that because a child is under 18, the charges are not serious or will simply disappear with time. While Oklahoma's juvenile justice system focuses more heavily on rehabilitation than punishment, juveniles can still face detention, probation, court supervision, placement outside the home, and, in some cases, prosecution as a youthful offender or adult. Understanding how juvenile cases work in Okmulgee County can help families make informed decisions and protect a child's future. What is a juvenile charge? A juvenile charge generally involves conduct by a person under 18 that would be a crime if committed by an adult. Common juvenile allegations include theft, vandalism, assault, drug possession, burglary, weapons offenses, and other criminal acts. Oklahoma juvenile courts also handle certain status offenses, such as truancy and curfew violations, that would not be crimes if committed by an adult. Although the proceedings are different from adult criminal court, you should never ignore the allegations. The outcome of a juvenile case may affect education, employment opportunities, military service eligibility, and future court proceedings. The juvenile court process. Most juvenile cases begin with an investigation by law enforcement. Depending on the circumstances, the child may be released to a parent, referred to a diversion program, or taken into custody. If prosecutors proceed with the case, a delinquency petition may be filed in juvenile court. The court will then schedule hearings to determine whether the allegations are true and what consequences, if any, should occur. Oklahoma juvenile proceedings are handled differently from adult criminal cases and are generally intended to balance accountability with rehabilitation. In many cases, the court considers educational needs, family circumstances, treatment options, and the juvenile's overall development when making decisions. Oklahoma law specifically recognizes that adolescents are generally more capable of rehabilitation than adults. Juveniles have important constitutional rights. Parents are often surprised to learn that children involved in juvenile proceedings possess significant constitutional rights. These rights generally include the right to an attorney, the right to remain silent, the right to challenge evidence, the right to present witnesses, and the right to a hearing before the court. Oklahoma law places substantial importance on ensuring juveniles have access to legal counsel during delinquency proceedings. Because statements made to law enforcement can become evidence in court, families should be cautious about allowing a child to answer questions without legal representation. Possible outcomes of a juvenile case. Not every juvenile charge results in detention or removal from the home. Depending upon the facts, the court may order probation, counseling, community service, educational programs, substance abuse treatment, restitution payments, and placement in a juvenile facility. The court's primary goal is often to address the underlying issues that contributed to the child's behavior while protecting public safety. Oklahoma's juvenile justice system emphasizes treatment, supervision, and rehabilitation whenever appropriate. Some juveniles can be prosecuted as adults. Certain serious offenses may expose a juvenile to prosecution as a youthful offender or even as an adult. Oklahoma's Youthful Offender Act applies to some serious crimes committed by older juveniles and can subject the child to more severe penalties while still preserving some opportunities for rehabilitation. Factors that may influence a case's prosecution include the child's age, the nature of the offense, whether the case involves violence, the child's prior history, and the severity of any injuries. These cases are often significantly more complicated than ordinary juvenile delinquency matters. Records and future consequences. Many parents worry about whether juvenile charges will follow their child into adulthood. While juvenile records often receive greater confidentiality protections than adult criminal records, they can still affect future opportunities under certain circumstances. The impact of a juvenile adjudication depends on the offense, the outcome of the case, and whether record sealing options become available later. Because juvenile records can have long-term implications, it is important to address the case carefully from the beginning rather than assuming it will disappear automatically. Okmulgee Juvenile Criminal Defense Attorneys. Juvenile charges in court are very different from the adult criminal process, but the consequences can still be significant. Decisions made during a juvenile proceeding can affect a child's education, family relationships, future employment opportunities, and overall future. If your child has been accused of a crime, obtaining experienced legal representation as early as possible can be one of the most important steps you take to protect their future. For a free consultation with a criminal defense attorney at Kania Law, Okmulgee Lawyers, call 918-621-8083.